What's going on, y'all? I'm Czar, and in this video, I want to show you the brand new plugin from Baby Audio. They've been teasing it the last few weeks, and here it is. This is Taip. And I think Baby Audio decided to spell tape differently here because this plugin was modeled differently. So while most other companies use DSP to model their plugins, Baby Audio actually used artificial intelligence to model this one. Wait a minute. Tape. T-A-I-P, T-A-I, artificial intelligence. I see what you did there. So let's go over the controls on this, and then I will show you how I used it on Mixbus, and I'll show you how I used it creatively to create a track that I made. So the controls, starting in the upper left, we have three different skins here. We have dark, kind of a in-between, and then we have white. I guess we'll call this gray. We got three different skins. You have drive, you have output, and the more you drive it, the more that will light up. Here you've got drive auto gain. So the more you drive this with this on, this is going to compensate for the output level for you automatically. Below here you have your mix between wet and dry. You have noise. You have wear, which is going to be your wow and flutter. And you have glue, which is going to be your compressor or compression here. Normal, hot. So normal is just going to be just the normal levels for tape, and then hot is going to be driving it harder. Single and dual. So single mode is just your single one tape deck. Dual mode is going to be a series of two tape decks together. And also in dual, you're doing half the amount of drive on each tape deck. So single, one tape deck, dual, two. Presence. This is really cool. So tape machines are naturally a little dark, roll off a little of the top end. This presence slider allows you to add high end back into the signal. High shape and low shape. This is going to allow you to either do less or more saturation on the high and low end. All right, so let's get into how this sounds. So I've got this here on the Mixbus, and this is, let's bypass it first. This is drive is at 0, output is at 0. This is basically just running through tape without any extra push of the drive or saturation that we're doing here. We've got the glue at 50 as well.
He bad production, he got Warris Gumbo, he got no cyborg, he want spinal cracker, he got feet down below his knee, yeah. Hold you in his armchair, you can't feel his disease. Come together right now over me.
You can hear there when I bring in tape, everything just moves forward and has a lot more color to it as well. Immediately what I noticed with this is one of the most colorful tape machines that I have used. I'll be honest, I've never really been a fan of tape machines because I always feel like tape machines are old school, and a lot of the music I do is not old school, so why would I use a tape machine? Then it also rolls off the high end, and I like my high end, so I've never really been a fan of tape machines, but this one is certainly different. Let's mess with the drive. Let's play that back, and let's increase the drive.
He bad production, he got Warris Gumbo, he got no cyborg, he want spinal cracker, he got feet down below his knee, yeah. Hold you in his armchair, you can't feel his disease. Come together right now over me.
All right, starting to get a little bit of distortion there when we hit those peaks. Let's bring the drive back down, and so we've got noise here. can increase that. And that's only going to, the noise is only going to play when you're playing it back, so.
He back production, he got.
It's an example of that. Where, we're going to look at that when we get to the track. Glue, this is no glue.
He back production, he got. Walrus gumbo, he got.
And this is, let's push it a little harder here. Let's go up to about 60. Let's go to where we got some peaks here.
Hold you in his armchair, you can't feel his disease. Come together.
So this glue is a very effective compression here, and I feel like you can almost get away with using it as a Mixbus compressor, or at least doing a little bit here and then following that with a bit, following it with a bus compressor, just to dial it in more. Let's look at hot. This is switching from normal to hot. Let's bring the glue back down a little bit. I do feel like you can go too far with the glue. Like up here at 100 is just way too much compression and it starts to pump. So I'm just going to bring this back down a little bit. All right, let's go normal to hot.
He back production, he got. Walrus gumbo, he got. Oh, no cyborg, he want. Spinal cracker, he got. Feet down below his knee, yeah.
And single and dual.
He back production, he got. Walrus gumbo, he got. Oh, no cyborg, he want. Spinal cracker, he got. Feet down below his knee, yeah. Hold you in his armchair, you can't feel his disease. Come together. Hold you in his armchair, you can't feel his disease. Come together.
So you can definitely feel it pushing harder in dual mode there. And now one of my favorite features on here is the presence. So we got the presence at 20 right now. I'm going to play this back and we're going to increase the presence. You can hear the high end that it's adding.
He back production, he got. Walrus gumbo, he got. Oh, no cyborg, he want. Spinal cracker, he got. Feet down below his knee, yeah. Hold you in his armchair, you can't feel his disease.
All right, so there's a look at tape on Mixbus. I will flip over to another session and we'll check out tape on a track that I did. All right, so I'm going to play this with tape bypassed, and then on the loop, I'm going to bring it in so you can hear what it's doing to this track. I've got tape on the synth and the bass and the drums and the piano. All right, so let's take a look at what I'm doing. For this sound here, I am using automation. I'm automating the wear, which is adding the wow and flutter, and I've got the mix set to 60. And when you have the wear up at all, not even just to 100, even just a little bit, you'll see this message that tape flanging is on once you start to move the mix dial back. And that's because when you're moving the mix dial back, now you're creating a flanging effect with the dry signal mixed with the wet signal that has that wow and flutter in it from the wear slider. And this is how that sounds. And with it bypassed. Next is the drums. This is with tape. And without it. Next is the piano. This is with it. And without it. And lastly, we have the bass. So this is without it. And with tape. You can see I've got the mix set here to 30. I've got the wear all the way up, and I'm bringing down the low shape here, which is affecting how much the low end is getting saturated. And we're also running it hot and on dual mode here to create that sound. So final thoughts on tape. It's nice to have a tape machine that actually is adding a ton of color and character to your sound. Like I said earlier, a lot of the other tape plugins I have are subtle, and I don't know, some of them I feel like I've even tricked myself into thinking I'm hearing much of a difference there. But, you know, when Baby Audio sent this to me, I had mixed feelings because on one hand, I know how I feel about tape plugins, but on the other hand, I'm a huge fan of Baby Audio and what they've been doing. And they definitely brought something different with this tape plugin. You know, I feel like I'd say this, it's the tape plugin that's spelled different because it is different. You know, this is unlike other tape machines. The mix knob, I don't recall seeing a mix knob on any other tape plugins that I have. And the fact that you can use this on Mixbus as well as creatively just really adds to it. So what would I like to see different on tape? I would like the tape stop effect. That would be nice. And as a Studio One user, and other Studio One users know this, that in the mixer, you can see the gain reduction, just like you can with Pro Tools, but you can see the gain reduction in the mixer. I would like to see that with the glue slider, just so I can know like just how much compression I'm doing. I'm a little OCD when it comes to compression like that. I like to know what I'm doing with my compression, but really impressed with how the glue does add compression, and, you know, like I said earlier, can function as a Mixbus compressor or the start of a Mixbus compressor as well. So that's my thought on tape. I'm really impressed with this, and while I don't use many of my other tape plugins, I will definitely be using this. I'm actually going to probably insert it in my mastering chain and see how that works for me. All right, I will have a link in the description so you can check this out. Let me know how you think. What do you think of tape if you've got it? How have you been using it? And what did you think of it here in this review? All right, if you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. If you want to continue to see content from me, then you know what to do. Any questions, comments, let me know, and I'll catch y'all next time. I want to invite you to check out my podcast, the Faders Up Podcast, where we discuss pro audio and beyond. We discuss everything from recording to gear to the music business. So if you're an audio engineer, songwriter, recording artist, music producer, this podcast is for you. We recently started season 2, and we're going to have a lot of listener questions on this season, as well as some really cool guests that's lined up and giveaways as well. So if you've already subscribed and followed the podcast, thank you. If you haven't, it's available on all platforms, and I encourage you to check it out. Also, rate it and review it and let us know what you think.